We are joining you from coast to coast. So we have the lovely Darlene Smith joining us from Moncton, New Brunswick. Hello, Darlene.
Hey, it's chilly here on the East Coast today, and good morning to you people just getting up on the West Coast.
Absolutely. And Darlene just told me that she just took her snow tires off her car this morning and it started snowing. So isn't that just the way things go?
March out like a lamb. No.
You can stay. And Elisa, you are in Toronto. How are things going in Toronto? Elisa, can you hear me? Your signal's a little bit, just a little blurry. There's not much happening there. You're just a little blurry.
Things are good. I think it's not raining, so that's good. We're not having our
excellent. Good, good, good. And there's Lynn. Good morning, Lynn. How are things?
Can you hear me okay?
Yep, I can now. Yep. Lynn, how are things going for you in Toronto?
Very good, thank you. Excellent.
Excellent. Nice to see you again. And thank you for helping to organize the awesome podcast that or not podcast, oh my God, there's so many casts that we're doing these days. The awesome webinar we're doing tomorrow with Matt from Centurion and Jeff from ICM. We're going to be talking about private equity and the exempt market. And that is a hot topic right now because a lot of people who are trying to figure out what to get invested in are looking at those markets. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow. That is going to be at 4 p.m. PST. And,
7 p.m. Eastern.
7 p.m. Eastern, thank you very much. And Darlene, for those of you on the East Coast, you'll be going to bed probably after midnight, which I know you love, so. And Alice is going to be joining us momentarily. I saw her pop up a minute ago, so she will be popping back on again, I'm sure, shortly. And so we're going to just get started. And the goal today is to, we're all trying to stay connected. We're trying to stay positive. We are trying to reach out in the best ways that we know how during this crazy time. We want to check in and find out, what are you doing to stay focused and stay positive? Are you taking great opportunity and making the best use of this time, or are you sticking your head in the sand and binge watching Netflix? So. And if you are, that's okay, but let's try to see if we can help you take advantage of this opportunity, because being trapped at home, as so many of us are feeling, is opening up time that, a lot of times what we want is more time, and suddenly now we pretty much have an unlimited amount of time. I mean, I think we all feel pretty confident that we're going to be in this for at least the next month, and so we're presented with this opportunity to really dive in and do some things that you they've been on your list, and now's the time. So if we can support you in any way, you've got 5 women on the call who are all business women across Canada, and we've all done our side hustles, we've had jobs, we've done real estate, we're in co-housing, we've got lots of different opportunities that we can share. And if you've got something that you want to share with us, let us know. So Alice is going to come online shortly. You'll see her lovely face. If you are in that question box, please say hi and let us know that you are here and tell us where you're from. And I will scroll up and down the little box and see who's checking in, who's new in the zoo. Hi, Sherry, how are you? And Sherry's here too from Vancouver. So we've got the West Coast represented.
Victoria. And from Victoria.
Oh, sorry. Yes, Victoria, sorry. the far West Coast. Cool, so we'll get started. And so, so as I say, Sherry just joining us. So Sherry is one of our key sponsors, and Sherry always has some good updates about what the heck is going on at the provincial level and the government level. Of course, there are lots of fears tomorrow around who's going to pay rent and how. So from both the tenant perspective and the landlord perspective, tomorrow's going to be a really interesting day, and it'll be interesting to follow up next week and see what has come out, what's actually worked, what things are still changing, what new things are changing, and there's new things being announced all the time. I just posted on my Facebook page a wonderful new spreadsheet that has been put together, and it basically has like a table of all kinds of benefits. So I haven't even had a chance to really dive into it myself, but it looks like there's some great research on there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take you through. Hi, Alice. I'm going to take you through from coast to coast, and we're going to hear what the ladies are doing. And again, today we're going to focus on mindset, money. We're going to talk a little bit about gratitude. We're going to, if you have any questions about what's going on in terms of rent or programs, feel free to ask us. If we don't have the answer, we will get that for you. And Darlene, I also asked you to share that super cool bank code program that you have. And so Darlene, on the East Coast, why don't we start with you today and tell us how things are going, and give us some tips and tricks to help us get through this turbulent time with our trusted tribe.
Well, thank you, Eliza, and exciting to be back with all you great ladies again here. It's been interesting, I must say. We're on day whatever it is now. We counted down to 14, and we just continued. And you know what? Mindset is going to get even worse in the next couple weeks. That roller coaster, yeah, because things are going to be happening even faster, and reality's kind of stick in on a few things. Now, also too, if you haven't been, you're more than welcome to go back and watch my video tips of the day. If nothing else, you'll at least smile and laugh as such. So it's just comment, let me know how what you're doing. I still got some more coming. We were talking about perspective today. I do share them on the WREN, so make sure you check those ones out. We're great. We're very cool. We had a beautiful weekend here, which was great. All the cars in the driveways went on the road, and all the people that were in the houses went into the parks and the walkways, and too many people went to places that they probably shouldn't have been all at the same time. Now, we were doing a great job on social distancing until we got to the beautiful weather. So one thing is cool, if you go for a walk in your neighborhood, everybody's friendly because they're so excited to see a person, but also very respectful. Is I watched one lady, we just continued to walk the dog, and she just went from one side to the other, continuing the 6 feet, so which is great to see out there exercise. Yeah, because snacks I think is going to be an issue there as well. You got to start surrounding yourself with some positivity, because things are going to they're going to be challenging out there. Don't be watching the news all the time. It's great to get your update. A lot of confusion on what programs are happening provincially and federally, and when they start and when they will be out. And that has been one of the biggest challenges. Now, in the province of New Brunswick, as of noontime yesterday, they introduced, for people like myself who are self-employed and can't get that unemployment, it's a one-time $900 payment, which is supposed to take us from the period when you get money from what you earn until some of the federal emergency items kick in. So it's different per province. So I filled it out yesterday. I just got confirmation, got an email that I'm registered. Yay, I'm registered. But that's it. So that's in the province of New Brunswick there. I know there's a lot of confusion. It's GST time as well. You know, I keep trying to tell people, April, I think it's GST month. Is that correct? I can tell everybody. Yeah, it is. There is a federal GST coming out. It's up to $400, but that's not until May. So I've been trying to keep a lot of people and consulting people about that as well. If you got some businesses out there, hey, we went from 10% to 75% for employees. That's huge, guys, and loans. I know that there's some federal loans getting out there. I was talking to some business people on Monday. The Prime Minister only announced it on Friday, and the banks don't know yet what is happening. So the next couple of weeks, confusion on what I can apply for and what I can't is going to be one of the biggest things. Now, a couple things here too. Also too, if you want, I'm just gonna put this up before I forget. This is really cool, right? It only takes 90 seconds, and it's mybankcode.com/Darlene with a capital D. And this is a great opportunity to find out, right, based on your values, what language you are. You get a free report. Liza, I think you did that, got a great free report. Yeah,
I encourage everybody to do this little bank code. It literally takes 90 seconds to do the exercise. It's a great communicating tool. It gives you 4 letters, and it basically tells you what style you are. Elisa and I are the same. We're action. Now, what were we again? Action, knowledge, no, action, nurturing, knowledge, and blueprint.
Right.
So what this does is it really helps you tailor your communication to the different styles. And so right now, because we're communicating so much online and on the phone and not as much in person, the whole body language in person thing has kind of been shifted. So we need to use our languages a little better. And this is a fantastic tool to help you create and write your messages, whether they're emails or newsletters or, you know, a message to your parents, so that you can help them, you can help speak in their language. If you've ever heard of the love languages, it's kind of a similar thing, but it's for businesses, and it's just fantastic. You get this great report. It's like, you know, a few pages, and it tells you about how to communicate with each of the different codes. So for example, an action person is, you know, action, action, action. They want to go, go, go. And other people want, you know, they want all the details, and they want to know how this happens and how this links to this. So if you're selling something, or you're communicating, or you're building a team, or you're just trying to have, you know, good communication with your spouse or your children, it's super helpful. It's awesome. Thanks, Darlene. I love it, and we're using it a lot.
Okay, sounds good. Do you want us to update for the virus now or later? You're going to do that across Canada afterwards?
Yeah, let's do that afterwards. Let's touch base with everybody first, and then we'll circle back around to that.
All right, keep your mindset out there.
Cool. Any other tips, Dar?
Listen, you got to start feeding your mind some positivity every day. The hardest part is depending on who you are in your house with. Sometimes that could be most challenging. Maybe we could make some changes. Like maybe, you know, whoever's in your house could come to my house. We could switch back and forth. I don't know. I'm just saying there's some opportunities to do that, right? So you've really got to start reading some positivity. There's so much traffic on the internet that it's just blown up. And something, even taking a course, like a friend of mine, one of the cool things is on Saturday, we did a Toastmasters contest, speech contest, online using Zoom. Now, so that was different, but again, it's a little normalcy back into your business and checking on people. That's really what you need to be doing, like those phone calls, the texts. You know, the most exciting thing, I've heard from people across Canada I haven't talked to for a while. I'm loving it.
Yeah.
I'm loving it. So reach out to those people. They do want to hear from you.
Yes, and I think one of the key things with that too is reach out more often than you think you need to. So I've been in touch with my mom all the time. You know, my mom is a super social person, and you know, she was alone on the weekend, and by the time that I got to her last night, she was blue, and I mean, it was like, oh my goodness, I got to call every day. Like every couple days isn't good enough. I got to call every day, and I'm going to go down and spend the weekend with her. Because imagine going through this on your own. I mean, I'm lucky. I'm in a co-house. We're going to be talking about that next week. And so, you know, we play games. We can watch movies together. We've got lots of great conversation going. So it's a really big difference. So please, please, please reach out to people who you know are by themselves. And if you can, you know, FaceTime them, send them text messages, give them a call, and check in every day if you need to. This is going to be over soon, and you know, I love the quote about it's going around these days. You know, in World War II, our grandparents were asked to go and fight to save our lives, and we're just being asked to sit on the couch. So just, you know, it's tough, but let's, you know, put it in perspective. So I am going to move next to Lynn. Lynn, do you want to give us a little bit of an update about Toronto and give us a couple of tips on what you're doing? You've got girls at home, children at home that you're trying to keep entertained. So what are you doing to keep your sanity? Have you hogtied them and put duct tape on them yet? I've seen that from a couple of Facebook posts. It's hilarious.
So I think I'm actually really lucky. So my kids are 15 and 18. The 18-year-old, she's doing her last week of university right now. And so, I mean, she's just powering through. Exams start next week, and, you know, they've been modified certain ways, but she's still, we rarely see her. The 15-year-old, so let's see, she's painting my hallway right now, and I pay her for that. So that's awesome. So we're both happy. And she finished a couple closets last week, and now so it's just kind of jobs that she likes to do, she's very good at. So what else? I do grocery shopping once a week, and I did a massive shop this morning for us and my parents who are elderly. And I'll say you just do it with knowing it's going to take a long time. And it's kind of that most people are nice, we're friendly, we smile. I will say I found a mask in the house, and I did wear a mask today. There is some back and forth on do you or don't you to go out. I'm choosing to believe if you're going to the grocery store, you do. We don't wear stuff at home at all. I mean, we're the only 4 people that have been in this house for 3 weeks. But anyway, so that was one change I made today. And let's see, we've downloaded Disney Plus. So feel good movies, cry movies, that's all good. And the younger one plays Minecraft with her friends. So she's the social one of us. So that is actually keeping her sanity. So from about 7 to 10 at night, because I say it goes off at 10, she's online with her friends. And that's time when I don't need the bandwidth and the other one doesn't need the bandwidth. So we have to kind of stagger our internet usage, but that part's working out fine. Honestly, the rest of us are introverts and we're quite content. But I do hear what you say. I call my mom regularly. I dropped the groceries off today and I put them into her trunk out in the garage. They stay there for a couple days. She waved at me through the window and I called her as I was leaving. So we talk regularly, but we haven't been closer than 15 feet in 3 weeks. That's kind of and Overdrive. So we use the library app for reading. The one we use is called Overdrive. So doing that, we've pulled out puzzles, which we don't usually get to do until Christmas. So the 1,000-piece puzzle that we finished in a day. We've got one more lined up. And we try to do a daily walk, take the dog for a walk. And again, the neighbors, we keep keep distance. We kind of walk around each other. Everybody has dogs where I live, so we're all out there walking the dogs, but we seem to stagger it pretty well. That's kind of that's what we've been doing. So.
Yeah, it sounds like you're doing all the right things. And one thing that kind of reminded me going to the stores, right? I think one of the things that we all have to keep in mind is that our healthcare workers and the grocery store clerks and the post office people, they're really, they're out there on the front lines, and don't be rude to the grocery store clerks. I mean, oh my God, we've heard some people say, oh, things are so bad at the grocery store and there's lines, and it's like, well, of course there are, right? I mean, let's just get a grip and try to remember that these people are going in, the truck drivers, we're still getting food delivered. I know, there's still a little bit of a, oh my God, what are we doing about toilet paper? But things are getting restocked, and depending on what time of day you go, it takes a little bit of a pattern to figure out when shops receive their shipments. So for example, we know that in Burnaby, the Whole Foods gets their shipments at 2 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. So if you go in between 3 and 6, you're going to get, access to the freshest, best produce. And so we've been doing fine. I mean, we've managed to find toilet paper. We've managed to get fresh vegetables. We've got some frozen vegetables. Lots of, we're eating great. And another kind of thing that you've heard me talk about is I'm on this WildFit program. So if you've ever thought about starting a health program and you thought, oh, I just don't have enough time, well, what's your excuse, right? I'm getting out and walking and running every morning and doing this WildFit eating health program, and feeling really, really good and really grateful that I started it at the time that I did, because the timing actually ended up being perfect. I don't want to go out and go out for dinner, and it's not really an option, so it just makes it easier. So again, what are the things that you can do that will actually work because of the situation that we're in. So it's a little bit of a shift of mindset there to think about what works. So thanks for sharing, Lynn. And how's the weather in Toronto? Did we cover that? I can't remember.
It is warm but rainy today.
Warm
And
but
rainy
rainy,
yesterday, but yeah.
So keeping everybody in a little bit, which is probably not a bad thing. Yeah. Cool. Now I had a question here about how to get the free report. So all you do is you go to, Darlene, do you want to hold your little bank code sign up again? You just visit this website. So www.mybankcode.com/Darlene. You take the 90-second little card shuffle thing that's on there. It's really fast. And then you will get a report downloaded for you to understand what your code is. So please feel free to do your bank code. And then when you know what it is, share it on the WREN Facebook page. So we've been sharing what our codes are and learning how to communicate with each other. So that's the WREN Facebook page. So if you go to Facebook, type in WREN, W-R-E-N, for us, and you will find the WREN Facebook page for those of you who aren't familiar with it yet. Cool. So thanks, Lynn. And one of the other questions that I have for people who are on the call is, what are you doing in terms of either taking the opportunity to accelerate your business, or have you put it completely on hold? So if you are on the call and you can answer that in the question box, we'd love to hear from you, and I can unmute you as well, and you can join us here if you want to say something. So let me know in that question box. And while we're waiting for that to happen, Sherry, let's pop over to you and hear how things are going in Victoria, British Columbia. One of the funny things I heard this morning, well, not so funny, but apparently Donald Trump was talking about the fact that Harry and Meghan aren't staying in Victoria, but have decided to move to Los Angeles. And it's like, wow, is that really what's important right now, that Donald Trump is talking about Harry and Meghan moving to LA? So I don't know if you've heard that over there, but I just thought that was kind of funny.
Yep, we have heard it here for sure. But you know, they always said that they were going to spend time down in LA. So I don't know why people are surprised, or this is a big thing. But anyway, so yeah, I'm not really too worried about Meghan and Harry right now. But so in Victoria, Sunday was an absolute beautiful day. It was blue skies, sun. I actually went out, I went for a drive, went to a deserted parking lot, and had my son and his family parked 2 stalls over, stay in their van. I stayed in my vehicle, but we had a little bit of a chat and got to wave to the kids, and they felt a little bit more connected than FaceTime. So we, both of those households, mine and theirs, have not had any communication with anyone for 2 weeks now with a little baby, and she'll be 3 weeks old tomorrow. So it's kind of been tough not seeing her, not being able to have those little baby snuggles, but we all do what we need to do, and this is important. So, but it was nice, and when they were gone, I got out and spent time just outside, standing in the sun and just taking it in. So I live in a condo and my balcony is enclosed, so I need to go outside in order to actually get fresh air other than having a window open. So I totally enjoyed Sunday. It was very refreshing, and I was probably outside in my car, which is usually where I live, for, I don't know, 3.5, 4 hours on Sunday, and it felt normal for me because I'm usually in my car for at least 4 hours in a day. Groceries have been fairly easy to get, but I don't go to the grocery store. I am considered high risk, so I'm more stay inside. So Rick ventured out to do a large shop, which he's not used to doing, on Saturday morning at one of the big stores, and came back slightly traumatized. Not so much that he couldn't get what he wanted, but just, you know, people in the aisles. The aisles are so narrow, it's very hard to maintain distancing in the aisles. So, and then of course there was things that he couldn't get. So anyway, on Sunday, he decided a different tactic. He went to a small local store, just sort of like a corner market that's a little bit larger than just a little store front. But anyway, he went there. It was great. They didn't have an empty shelf. They had absolutely everything that he wanted. and everything else. So that was I think that's a good tip. You support locally. There was like 2 other people in the whole store, and he was able to get everything that he wanted, and it wasn't as many crowds, etc. So much easier to maintain social distancing and get your bleach and your Lysol wipes and all that sort of stuff, hand sanitizer. They had it all. It was great. So that was my sort of tip there. It's been very slow on the real estate side, and we've been encouraging people not to do anything if they don't absolutely have to. Having said that, one person on my team did write an offer over the weekend, and we're trying to do that for listings. We're trying to remain so that we only do vacant properties, if at all possible, to mitigate some of the risk. We've sort of, we're dealing with things as they come up, but really I've had no, showing requests on current listings. So there's nothing to deal with, which I'm quite happy about actually. And taking this time to, like Liza had said, to connect with people. So clients, people I haven't talked to for a while. Hi, how are you? Just checking in to see how you're doing. Is there anything I can help you with that you might need? Resource, any questions about the whole renter thing? I am happy to report that this is March 31st and I've received over 50% of my rent so far this month for April 1st. Yay! And I know I've got a couple of people who will be paying their rent, but on the 3rd to align with sort of pay periods, because the 3rd is a Friday and one of the household is not working, that sort of thing. So from that standpoint, that's good. Our province is giving $500 a month for the next 3 months to go directly to the landlord for rent once people apply. The trick is that it's not really going to be open for applying until Monday, or till the 6th, whatever that is. Yeah, Monday. So that doesn't help for April 1st, but it will help during the month. So that's what our province is doing in conjunction with the federal government's $2,000 a month for those who've been laid off. For my small business, I don't find what the government is offering really helps us because we are on commission, and so work we did 2 months ago, money is still flowing in now, where we're going to run into the crunches July and April, or July and August. There's going to be like nothing because we're doing nothing now. So, you don't, and we don't necessarily qualify because they look at, well, our income hasn't been impacted today, like physically today, but it will be, it'll just be a lag. So I'm not quite sure how they're going to deal with that. I'm waiting to see some of the application process, even doing the payroll to keep my assistant, that sort of thing, but I'm not quite sure how that's going to look when it comes down to qualifying. For realtors, we have been said we're an essential service. We're supposed to keep open, but we do have guidelines, and if we don't feel safe, and I've told my team, if it's okay to say no if somebody's pressuring you to do something. Yes, you may lose a sale, but it's better than taking the risk if you're not comfortable with it. For myself, because of my health situation, I can't afford to take that risk. I have no immune buildup, storage, nothing. So that's the way it is, but we keep going and we do everything we can, like doing this and helping people out. So it's a good time to connect with everybody because we are going to be very busy when this is over.
Yes, I think very busy when this is over. And Sherry, a couple things there that I wanted to highlight about supporting local, right? Like now is the time when if there's anything you can do to support your local grocer, the local restaurant, takeout, anything you can do to help those local businesses, because of course, they're going to be the ones that are going to be hit the hardest. I mean, we know there's probably going to be an Air Canada bailout from the federal government. We know that corporations will likely get some bailouts, but those small local businesses are the ones that really need our help in whatever way, shape, or form we can give it. So anything we can do to support the local businesses. So good for Rick for going to the little local grocery store and finding everything he needed. That's awesome. And yes, people are stepping up and doing all kinds of new things that they didn't ever think they were going to be doing, like grocery shopping. Like, wow, what a concept.
Just to add to that, I was talking to a couple of realtors, and we do have 3 or 4 closings that are happening today that were in the works beforehand, so which was good to see throughout. And one of the things that you mentioned about the restaurants, I don't know what they're doing out west, but here they're doing a lot of selling gift cards at a discount now.
Yes.
So it's, I think that's probably across Canada. If
Great
not,
idea. Yes,
okay.
all of our gifts for the rest of the year should be gift cards to restaurants and local suppliers. That's a great idea. Yeah. So another little helpful tip there. And I think Sherry, just one of the other things I wanted to highlight is, you know, we talked last week about staying in touch with your local MLAs, with the, you know, the municipal, with the council, just being a voice for your business and your community. So if you have a business, if you have some concerns that you don't see have been addressed yet, you know, the way that we're going to be able to keep all of the 3 levels of government on track is to keep them apprised of what we're going through and what support we need. So they keep enrolling new things all the time. And, you know, people who are on commission, that maybe they haven't even thought of that yet. So as they keep hearing these things and the volume of those needs goes up, suddenly they're able to come up with a program. So it's really interesting to see what's happening around the world, and then how we're adapting from what's going on globally, and then also from what people are talking about in terms of putting out surveys and talking to their MLAs and talking to city council. So we all need to start using our voices and be a little bit louder in terms of how we can support each other and how we can gather support for our community and our businesses. So that's awesome. Thanks. Cool. So I'm going to head over to Alice now. Alice and I were talking about money and mindset, and we were talking about side hustle. It's a great time to start a side hustle. And Alice, if you want to tell us a little bit about you're an independent businesswoman. You've got property in Costa Rica. You've got clients from many different places. How are you doing in this time? And what are your tips? And what do you want people to take away from the session today? Take it away, Alice. In Toronto again.
Yes. Can you hear me okay? Okay, perfect. Yeah, thank you for having me, and thank you for those questions. Actually, as I've been reflecting the last couple of weeks, I think a lot of us at the beginning were a little bit shell-shocked and just trying to get used to the new reality. So I think now it's been 2 or 3 weeks, we're starting to settle in. And what I wanted to share from a business standpoint regarding side hustles and things like that. So one of the other things prior to this, I was doing a lot of in-person events and workshops through my other business that I do. So I teach, I run events with small groups of women, things like that, and I really love doing it. It's been a wonderful, not only fulfillment standpoint, but I love the connection, and I'm able to teach the things that I'm passionate about. So not being able to do that has been very difficult. And so, really interesting thing happened to me. So for the first few weeks that this was going on, and, you know, we're all trying to get used to this new reality, and I'm thinking, okay, well, I can't do my courses, I can't do my events anymore in person. Yeah, we've got the Zoom online. I mean, we had talked about, so me and my business partner that we work with, you know, we had talked about taking a lot of the course offerings online, but in the future, right? Like in 6 months, 12 months, it was in the works, but we hadn't actively been working on it. So all of a sudden we have to start thinking about pivoting everything in the pipeline within like a week or 2, which is really fast. And so the first couple of weeks, I kind of think like a lot of people, you feel a bit unstable, you feel a bit unsure. And it was just even this weekend, I thought to myself, well, you know, I had to put all my students, all my classes, events on hold because we didn't know how long it was going to go. Like, should we just wait till we could reopen? Should we turn everything online? So before we made a decision, I had already decided myself this past weekend, you know what? Speaking of being productive and taking the time, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if my current students or future students would want to do it online. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to do the work anyway. So I energetically and from a mindset perspective already decided, I don't know if I will have customers or not, but I was going to do this anyway. I'm going to start converting all of my content that I've been teaching live online and worry about who's going to come or not come later on, right? Because I'm just going to do it, and I have time now. rather than sitting around. I mean, it is, you know, you have to give yourself the time to acknowledge any fears you may have, or any, you know, it is a very destabilizing type of time. So, you know, after I'd gone through that and felt good, I'm like, you know what, it's time to get to work. And then what happens? The minute I made a decision, regardless of outcome, to do the work, all of a sudden all my students were like, yes, we want this. Let's book a date. We don't want to stop. We want to continue online. Let's do it in a week. Let's do it in a month. You know, so in the last like 2 days, I think I've had like 10 people say, yes, let's do it. I'm going to sign up. So I hope that the people listening, the reason why I'm telling you this story, because even for myself, it was a great teaching in terms of intention and mindset and where you place your energy, because the truth of the matter is, what you intend and your energy starts first, and then the physical manifestation happens after. And I know, you know, maybe some of us have heard that a lot of times, but to actually see it in a practical experience and to know it internally is a different thing. So it was a really great reminder for me that, you know, where you put your intention out there, your energy, you're going to do the right thing regardless of the uncertainty or the outcome. It follows. If you have the right energy, the right outcome will follow. So I'm super excited now. I'm going to be, you know, one of the classes I'd originally planned, I wasn't sure if we were going to cancel it this weekend online. I'm like, we're converting it and we're going to do it this weekend already. So that to me is exciting. Yeah, so I hope that makes sense to people and is helpful.
Yes, it's awesome. And I think to, you know, to drive that a little bit further, there were a couple key words that you said in there. Passionate, right? Like there are so many of us that are passionate about something. And that's where, you know, the whole, I keep holding up my little book, Side Hustle. So if everybody has a dream to have a side hustle or have your own business, this is a great way to get started, and it's perfectly digestible for the time we're in right now, because it's from idea to income in 27 days. 27 days, that's the month of April, right? So you could literally jump in, start a business, part-time or full-time in 27 days. It's a great way to just walk yourself through how actually it is possible when you have passion, when you have that vision. Alice talked about, you know, having a vision, putting that out there. I mean, all of the ladies on the call, these are the kinds of things we talk about often, is imagining something as if it's already happened, imagining yourself in that place of success, imagining, you know, a room full of people, whether it's online or in person, and imagining you delivering value for the people that are out there who want the services that you're providing. And somehow the universe, oh, I found another great one here. Here's my little card that I found this morning. So I'll hold it up to the screen. You see if you can see it. So it says dream. It says act boldly and unseen forces will come to your aid. So I think that's kind of the time that we're in right now as well. You know, here we are. We could stick our head in the sand, as I've been saying, or we could take this time to get prepared, get yourself organized, build the, you know, build it and they will come, get your marketing organized, build your team, you know, find the experts around you who can support your organization, and hit that start button. So Alex, I think that's great advice. And yeah, thanks. Keeping the passion going. And just to add as well, there are so many courses right now. Universities have opened up 600 free courses. Audible is free right now. So there's, you know, books and movies and courses, and oh my, right? There's just, you could learn how to make hand sanitizer, or you could learn how to build an engine for a boat. I mean, there's just no shortage. I think I'm going to take the vodka distilling course.
Yeah. And the other thing too that I wanted to add about side hustles, for the people on the call, I made a couple of notes before this. So just from personal experience, and I've tried, so several years ago when I was kind of sick of my corporate job, and I had a very good corporate job, by the way, I've had several very good corporate jobs, but internally I just knew that wasn't what I was meant to do. So I'm thinking, okay, can I start a side hustle? What should I do? And then so I had ideas, things that I liked, hobbies I liked. I had friends that would tell me, oh, you're really good at this. Why don't you try that? So my other piece of advice, if you want to start a side hustle is, you can, let's say, for example, you want to try and see if you can monetize a hobby. Would be one reason why you would start a side hustle. And they're just, to me, a good way. And I did a lot of this while I was still working, right? To experiment. I mean, I started real estate investing while I was still working as well. Some could consider that a side hustle until it becomes full time, right? So now, for example, we have enough income that from the real estate investing that I no longer need a corporate job. So, but a lot of these things start out as side hustles, things you're passionate about. So we did the real estate investing, but I had other hobbies that I liked. So give that a try, right? Because there's relatively low risk if you look at it that way, and see if you can monetize it. And if your goal, and this is not everybody's goal when they have a side hustle, but if your goal is to eventually turn it into a full-time entrepreneurial business, it's just such a great way to test it, and especially if you still need income, right? So you don't need to give up your part-time or full-time job. You can test it out with the idea of, you know what, do people actually see value in this? Will people actually give me money to do whatever it is? Like, I made like lip balm, I did creams, I'm really into crystals, like I did everything, so just throw it out there and try. And then through that process over the last 3 to 4 years, I've been able to really hone down what it is I really enjoy doing and love doing. That also happens to make me an income as well. So
And
that's my
that's
tip.
awesome. Awesome. Thanks, Alice. And when you think about people who made money on side hustles, one of the big ones that people forget about is, things like Uber. Uber started as a side hustle, right? Airbnb started as a side hustle. So side hustles are exactly that. It's, as Alice mentioned, you've got your full-time job, you're still working, but what is one of your passions? What's a hobby that you have that you can really dive into, you can become an expert on, and you can monetize, and now is the time to do that. Again, because there are so many free courses, there's so many people who have some availability to help you and support you, and people are looking for things to keep busy. So Alice has just said it, right? She's was going to put a course on hold, and now she's got people signed up wanting to dive in. So terrific. Go ahead, Sherry. Sherry's got her hand up. Woo, woo,
Yeah,
woo.
I'd rather do that than just interrupt. But, just as a side hustle, like some people don't believe it, but our development and building apartment buildings was a side hustle. We did it off we joke about doing it off the side of our desk, but literally that's what we did. It was never our full-time job. It was, something, opportunity came, we said yes, and how do we do this? But we kept our day job to facilitate income while this was all happening. So you can do anything that way.
And that is a big side hustle. So for those of you who are maybe on the call and haven't met or talked to Sherry before, Sherry is a real estate focused investor or a real estate agent with an investor focus. Sorry, Sherry. Who built. We're on our fourth apartment building. And how many units in total? What's the number of units?
Our first project was 20 units, then we did 30, then we did 63, and now we're doing 230.
Right. So we're what is that? 500? That's too much math for me.
I don't know. It's a lot.
So off the side of Sherry's desk, she has built rental housing for upwards of 500 people. Like, oh my God, right? So come on, like that's pretty spectacular. And she's showing us how to do it too. So pretty awesome. And we're pretty excited to have Sherry on the team showing us how to do that as a side hustle.
It was.
Thanks, Sherry.
It's fun.
Yeah.
But in all honesty though, like now, like we're somewhat slowed down. Mm-hmm. We were scheduled to begin our next project in the fall, and so we're just waiting to see whether there'll be an impact. But at the end of the day, it's still going to be built. But
yeah, exactly. That's an awesome side hustle, and one of the ones that we're working on, and that leads very nicely into Elisa. So Elisa, I'm going to get you to take it away, and you and I can just talk a little bit at the end about co-housing, but take it away. Tell us about what you're doing. Elisa's also in Toronto and is a successful businesswoman who's moved around and has a really globally minded attitude, and always love hearing from you. So welcome, and take it away.
Awesome, thank you. It's wonderful to be in the company of all these wonderful women and those on the call that I haven't met yet. For those on the call who don't know, my background is in marketing consulting, and my company still exists in Vancouver, and even though I'm in Toronto. I was kind of getting disenfranchised actually in the last couple of years, being in marketing and working with these giant corporations and stuff. And I was also looking for a side hustle, and I love that topic. It speaks to me in terms of the passive income that I want to create for myself instead of just working, trading time for money. And so I got into STRs a year and a half ago, and been very successful at it. It's been a way for me to be able to live downtown without having to increase my expenses. In fact, I am getting cash flow positive, so that's even better. And I've now downsized my consulting company so that it's a side hustle, and I'm trying to grow my my STRs and my co-housing, my intentional living spaces, and creating them for others. And that's definitely my passion. I'm like you, Liza, living in co-housing, it's so wonderful to have people around. I'm more of an extrovert than some people are. And I was talking to my former housemates in my former co-housing space, and they said, oh, they can't talk to me tonight because they're having a little going away party for someone who's moving back to Brazil. And I thought, oh, I wish I could come to your party. But that's what you can do, when you're living in co-housing. You can pick and choose who you live with, and create a safe space where people are comfortable just to be themselves, and in your own little created family. So it's wonderful to have that. Right now with STRs, for anyone who is signed up on Airbnb or any of the other platforms, it has been a little bit challenging in the last couple of weeks for us as well. Pretty well anyone who was coming for a short term to Toronto for conferences and other non-essential travel have canceled. People are still moving though, because I still see in Kijiji, people have given their notice before this all happened, and now they need to have a place to stay, to live come April 1st. So I'm in communication with those people. So converting our STR to a more longer term or midterm housing solution for them. That I have turned off my instant booking so that we have an opportunity to chat with them, make sure, they're playing it safe. Of course, everyone wants to know. And it was really nice because on some of the chats that I'm involved in, some of the chat groups on Facebook that I'm involved in, they coached us on how to change our listing to say that we have been keeping our place, very well disinfected and sanitized, so that they understand it is a safe place as well. Yeah. So in terms of side hustle, not only am I working in STRs, but I'm getting more involved in the creation of that. And so that's how what Liza and I have been talking about. Learning from the best practices, not only in Canada, and as, of course, what Sherry and Liza have been doing, but also around the world, and see how other people are doing it in the States, in Europe, around the world, and see what we can take back to Canada and use shared housing or co-living spaces as a way to not only have a social circle that we want to be in, but also, as a solution for loneliness or affordable housing, especially in markets like Toronto or Vancouver.
Or isolation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So we'll be talking about that next week. We'll have a couple of guest speakers on, and I know that the whole co-housing trend that is already just exploding across the planet You know, for those of you who maybe aren't following it, you haven't seen the trend really kicking up yet, but governments at all levels are starting to take interest. Seniors advocates are taking interest. Youth advocates are taking interest, because the number one thing that people are realizing is what we're struggling with right now as a culture globally is loneliness and isolation. And that was what the findings were before the virus hit. And so as we go through this COVID-19 crazy, chaotic circumstances, what's going to come out of that is a kind of a new study on how people who have connected communities, people who have people that they can rely on, people who have close proximity to other people, there's going to be more of that wanted. And so the co-housing, co-living, the co-sharing, co-working, I mean, it's all going to just start getting bigger and bigger. And one of the things that Elisa and I are working on is working on some delivery systems to help people get involved in co-housing. And we're also working with some government monies at all different levels of government to actually build co-housing rental properties and co-housing investment properties. And of course, you know, one of our big goals is to have properties around the world that we can own some mansions with our best friends, you know, have a place in Mexico or Portugal. Not this week, we'll wait until things blow over, or Australia or Thailand, and we can have use of them. And rather than having a property that you own on your own, you share it with your best friends, and you can have the chef and you can have the yoga instructor and have a great lifestyle. So we know that that's definitely a trend for the future, and we're going to dive into that a little bit more, because I know people are going to be preparing for that as we move out of this phase and people start thinking, how can I improve my health? How can I improve my wealth? And what can I do to improve myself? And a lot of those self-improvements and self-concerns come from the loneliness and isolation. And so we're going to focus on that. So self, wealth, and health will be our focus for next week. And we'll focus in particular on co-housing. So it is 11:55. It's amazing how fast an hour goes. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to post in the question box. There was a note here, STR, yes, short-term rental, for those of you who haven't heard that term before. It's not another new disease that we're trying to stay away from. It's STR, short-term rentals. So one last thing that I just wanted to share, I shared this, I think last week, but for those of you who haven't seen it yet, it's a really good time to redo your goals. I'm doing a big program right now with Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi. It's an amazing program. They offered it at an incredible price, so I couldn't turn it down. And one of the things that Tony talked about was doing your roadmap and your goals. So I took this really fun, I've had this in my box for ages. It's an upside down map of the world. So it's, you know, not many people see the world looking like this, completely upside down. And I used that as my roadmap. And on the back of it, I wrote out my goals. So I've got creating your future, seeing your future as if it's now. So we talked about vision being visions. I talked about my financial, business, giving, and investment goals. So I've got all those written out. I talked about my thing goals, which I'm not really a material person, but you know, what are the things that you would love to have if you had no limits? So one of the things that I wrote down, you just heard me talk about it, I want a beachfront house in Mexico. Like, you know, who wants to come to Mexico with me and spend time on the beach, right? Dar, I mean, you and I and Elisa and our friends on the beach eating tacos and guacamole and drinking margaritas all day. Yes, please. And then your health goals and your fitness goals and all that kind of stuff. So I'm working on all of them, and the health goal is my Wild Fit challenge is keeping that whole diet thing really interesting. And I encourage you to please take this time, see the opportunity that exists, and if you need help figuring out how to dive in, then please reach out to me. All of us are available. Do the bank code. It takes 90 seconds, and it's great. You'll get this report, and it will help you communicate with other people around you, either from a business perspective or from a relationship perspective. And Darlene is going to be offering us more information on Bank Code coming up, because they've got a whole bigger sales program that they're rolling out. And yeah, stay well, stay healthy, stay safe, stay positive, and please stay connected. And if anybody has any last minute things to say, feel free. Otherwise, we're just going to say adios, amigos, and we'll see you on the next call, which will be, we actually are doing one tomorrow. As I mentioned, Lynn and I will be talking with our exempt market friends tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern, and we'll have great guests on there. And that's it for now. We'll see you later. Have a great day. Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Stay well.